I saw another day, only to scream into the night. Nothing ever tries to change, even if I want to realize. 'Cause I've been sitting here, same old ways, thinking of about the same mistake. Darling, where you going? It won't be as simple for you.
Well. Hey, guys. It is Old Man G here, back again with another match reaction. And it is Messi versus Mbappe. It is Messi versus Mbappe. France 2, Morocco 0. In ultimately, I think everyone can say that France kind of deserved it. I think that you have to say that Morocco. Yeah, I'll start with Morocco first because before I get into France and France versus Messi and all the rest of it, I just want to say how much of a tremendous achievement it actually was for Morocco in the first instance, the first African side to even get to a semi-final. I would have loved it had have a Croatia Morocco going through. It would have been nice to have had someone win the World Cup for the first time. Alas, it's one of France or Argentina, someone to add to their notch. But for what Morocco achieved during this World Cup, it's to be commended. It's absolutely to be commended. It really put Africa and Arab football on the map. And that's the bar now for African and Asian teams now. You can get to a semi-final. Obviously, Korea made it, I'll bet, ref tax. But Morocco have made it now, so they have. So I don't know what other. So almost every has been. Is it? I don't know. Has there been a CONCACAF team in the semi-final? Let me know. Maybe CONCACAF are the only, because obviously Asia have, just Africa now have, Europe and South America obviously have. But has there been a CONCACAF team in the semi-final? So let me know. Shout out to Eddie. Eddie, by the way, I've sent you the link if you're watching. So yeah, just the link and you'll be able to the post-match reaction. SMB man, thank you, buddy. Thank you, man, for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Long time follower. So yeah, I appreciate your ongoing support, buddy. I do. USA went to semi-final back in the beginning. Oh, okay, fine, cool. Okay, so really, it was Africa that was the only continent that hadn't got to a semi-final. So at least everyone has gotten to a semi-final of a World Cup. So that's good. I just think that they were just. I don't want to say they were unlucky. I mean, there are a few things. I mean, obviously the injury to Sayers, and some of the other key players, I think, before the beginning of the game didn't really help. You could see that this Moxine was fatigued, and they were going into that, coming into the next game. It was always going to be a struggle. Going to get on a bit, thanks. Yeah, no worries, but no worries. Take your time. It's okay. I'll give my sort of spiel anyway. But yeah, I just think that at the end of the day, I think that this what Morocco achieved and the teams they beat is something to be commended. And it's filthy. I'll get to Griezmann and France, because I think Griezmann may potentially make the difference tomorrow. But at the end of the day, you got to shout out this Moroccan side. I actually do think I don't know who was on VAR. Can someone explain to me who was on VAR? Who was on VAR today? Because I'm fairly sure that tackle, like, Buffal got a yellow card even though he was fouled. that should have been, in my opinion, that should have been a penalty to Morocco. That was a terrible decision. It should have been a penalty to Morocco. And at that point, it would have been 1-1. And you never know whether that would have changed the game in terms of, you know, the defensive aptitude of Morocco, etc. I think it personally would have changed the game. But yeah, I don't really understand why VAR didn't check that. Obviously, the Morocco had their chance as well. You know, they were unlucky to concede in the first 5 minutes. You know, to Hernandez, it was a nice finish by Hernandez. Shout out to him. But yeah, I just think that I just think that Morocco. I guess I'm just saying I would have liked to have seen a full strength Moroccan side against this France team and see how they'd face. But this was a very weakened side. And at the end of the day, this is a France side that, although it is in quote weakened, this France side has a lot of depth. So, but congratulations to France. Obviously, they obviously deserved it. I mean, they've essentially broken the curse because they've gone to back-to-back finals, which is insane. It's actually insane how this France team has gotten back-to-back finals. So, yeah, you can't underestimate these guys. You can't underestimate these guys. We are going to talk about Griezmann. Griezmann, what a player. Shame he went to Barcelona. Well, he's back at Atletico Madrid now. And Kanate also had a big game, says SMB as well. He was a monster. He was a monster. I don't know. Is he taller than VBD? That's interesting. Is he taller than VBD? France still has issues to me. If they win the final, I'm not sure if they win the final, to be honest. But this is the thing about this France side is that, yes, like, I don't think France have played particularly well all tournaments, and yet they're in the final. You know, I don't think they played because they were in the group with Denmark. I don't think they played that well against Denmark or Australia or Tunisia. They lost to Tunisia. They didn't. And then they played, who did they play in the round of 16? They played, it wasn't Australia. It was some other team. I can't remember. Someone to remind me. But I don't think they even against England. You know, in the second half, England dominated France. You know, this could easily. I think the team that's played the best against France this World Cup was England. England should have won that game. And had England won, they probably would have been into the final facing Argentina. They should have, but France have got it done at the end of the day. They got it done. They came and did what they need to do. And to be honest, in a final, you just never know. In a final, you just absolutely never know. It could be yellow cards, red cards, penalties, etc. You don't know. But when you look at how Griezmann for me has probably been France's best player this tournament. I actually don't think Mbappe has been that great. He's been okay, but I don't actually think that he's been that great. Giroud has been okay, you know. So obviously you talked about Koundé in the defense, but I'd say Griezmann has been France's star player. This has been his World Cup, and he's got it done. I'll bring Eddie in a second. Just quickly read this comments. France still has, yeah. I dare you want to peak on the semis and then give it to your fine, but France seem to work differently. Exactly. Dembele is a brick. Dembele is bad. Dembele is bad. I mean, again, just referring back to the England game, like, he played well for like 5-10 minutes and then basically goes to the remaining 80. He was awful. I think he was on Luke Shaw's side, and I don't think Luke Shaw had to do. Luke Shaw, who's slower than Dembele, could go up the pitch. Like, he literally just didn't. Like, Luke Shaw had no problems on down that left-hand side. It was strange, you know. So, yeah, Dembele, but he's in a final, and he could be a World Cup winner. So there you go. Right, let me just bring in Eddie. 2 seconds. Yo, Eddie, buddy, how you doing?
Yes, RDS, man. Long time, man. It's good to be back on the channel.
I know. Back to streaming finally. So, bro, what was your thoughts on this game and how it ended, and obviously looking forward to the final as well?
Yeah, I mean, this game today, I missed certain bits of it, but for the most part, I was watching Morocco actually take the game to France. I mean, the second half, I was in one of these WhatsApp chats with some people that are watching as well. They were saying that Morocco was like, dominating possession to the point where it was like they're almost like Man City. They were doing like overloads onto France's left side, which I've heard pundits on TV say that was a side to take advantage of. But they weren't switching the play enough to the other side to keep stretching them. Because that's what you do, isn't it? When you dominate a side, you keep stretching them right and left. Morocco were doing that, but it's Morocco at the end of the day. They needed some more bosses up front to be finishing. It doesn't seem like they have enough of a finisher for me. Obviously, El Naziri, I think he's missed some chances before. I mean, they have energy and they're so crisp in their transition. That's what I like about them. So I really thought they'd get a goal, but yeah, France are just resilient, aren't they? I mean, to be honest, we're all aware of Deschamps, right? We're aware how he can have his team get a goal, and he's all right. He's all right with just sitting back, and it just reminds me of Jose Mourinho. And I mean, for us fans that really enjoy football, we don't really like. I don't like that. I don't like. I mean, they did the same against England as well, but for me, France have the players to just keep dominating the game after one goal. Chouameni, you see the way he can turn defense to attack. Griezmann can tackle well and also play make. It just seems like Deschamps just went for that counter attack with Mbappe and Dembele to get the speed.
I mean, in his defense, he'll say, "I have a World Cup."
Yeah,
that's what he'll say. He'll just say, "Listen, I have a World Cup. It worked for me. I'm now in a World Cup final again.
Let me do my argue with it."
And if he wins the World Cup, it'll be like, "Listen, I've been one of the few coaches that has won the. Is he obviously the only coach? I have to double check because I don't know. Because I know Brazil did it. Was it in this? I don't know when Brazil did it. I don't know, 70s that they won the World Cup back to back. But I think it might have been a different coach. So I don't know whether Deschamps might be the first coach to actually win the World Cup back to back with a team, And then he'll say, "Well, what more do you want me to do?" You know what I mean? He could even retire on that. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I see your point, Eddie. I'm just sort of saying that, like, Deschamps will probably think that I'm quite confident. If at the end of the day it gives France another World Cup, no one's going to complain. You know what I mean?
Exactly, man. It comes back to what you guys say on HH's show. I hope so. Get it done, kids.
Get it done.
So yeah. Yes. I mean, yeah. All I was talking from is the perspective of the spectacle of the game. Yeah. But when it comes down to just getting business done, yeah, Deschamps in another final, and yeah, that can't be argued against. I was just thinking he could just like kill off games earlier with this kind of team. I just think they've met opposition like England and Morocco, who I reckon they could have put to bed like just a bit better, because he's doing fine margin football pretty much, But yeah, he's getting it done. So yeah, you can't argue with it overall.
You can't argue with it. Shout out to Nar, man. Thank you. Big ups, man. Not a great final Sunday. Well, it'll be interesting because I think it is attack versus attack. Both, but to be honest, Argentina and France are basically, throughout this entire tournament, have set up their teams to counterattack. They literally have, if you think about it. Like, Argentina didn't play possessive football. They didn't play astutely defensive football, neither France. They literally were like long ball up or counterattack to score the goal via Alvarez or whatever. Yes, of course, Messi's done his thing, but you even look at the Croatia game. Croatia had more possession than Argentina. They were just waiting for a mistake, quick counter, score goals. So it is going to be interesting to see, how these two managers set up, because they can't counterattack each other. Or maybe they can. I don't know. But I suspect Deschamps would be like, I want Mbappe to counterattack Argentina, and I'm sure Scaloni will be like, well, I want Alvarez, to do the same with Messi's help. SMB says the Fofana guy didn't impress me either. France midfield is still weak to me. While Fofana plays for Chelsea, I mean, to be honest, which Chelsea player actually impressed this World Cup? Probably aside from Ziyech, who doesn't play. He doesn't even play really. Like, I mean, maybe Thiago Silva. I hold it against them. They didn't take the penalty, won the penalty anyway, being the captain.
Yeah, Thiago Silva has been good. I remember his pass to Richarlison for that. You know when Richarlison did like he's doing like them headers with the ball, and then he did like a 1-2 with Thiago. Then he got like the tap in. Do you know what goal I'm talking about? That was a great assist from Thiago Silva. Like his ability to press forward at his age, and get an assist. That was awesome, man. But yeah. They had to go out, didn't they? Just fucking not defending in extra time for 5 minutes. 5 minutes left, you don't defend. That was ridiculous, man.
Oh no, that's a different. It is a different fun. Sorry, my bad. You're right.
Oh.
I literally just clocked on as I was reading it. I still make my point about Chelsea though. That point still stands. I think what Eddie is saying is that this star will eventually be found out by a better team. I mean, you say that, but I mean. But at the end of the day, I don't see the style being any different than Argentina's. I think the only difference really between Argentina and France is Argentina have Messi. That's the only.
Sorry. I see. For me, it just seems that Argentina are like just more tenacious. Like I know what you're saying with like they were against Croatia, they were relying on that counter, but it just seems they pressed a bit more with a bit more energy.
But I think that's because of Messi. I think that's because if you didn't have Messi in this team, I think they would solely rely to counter him. But because he's able to, wherever that's he comes deep with the ball. He's obviously able to dribble and go past goodness knows how many people. Like, I think it almost frees them to be able to do that.
They have to do that because like Messi's not really got the legs, right? They have to do all the running for him. So.
Exactly. So it's almost like he it's almost like if Messi wasn't there, like I said, I just think that Argentina would play almost identical to France in terms of how they progress, because they've not really held on to the ball that much. I don't think defensively Argentina are that great either, as we saw with against the Netherlands. And when I look at even those Croatia goals, both were basically long ball / I think both the first two. Yeah, the penalty, because he long balled it up to Alvarez. Then the second, that was the third goal where Messi scored the penalty, and the second one, likewise, Alvarez was scoring goals. So they didn't work it through or anything like that. And obviously, the third goal was Messi brilliance with the assist and stuff like that. So, but the first two, nothing to do with it. Mike Toxic, shout out to Mike. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Ching. Big up RDN. PSG final is then, yes. Messi versus Mbappe. That's going to be a very interesting, a very, very interesting situation, I think, come PSG, because one of those guys is going to be walking away with a World Cup and one is not. And I suspect if it's Mbappe, that you're not going to see Messi or Neymar at PSG next season. That's I could be wrong, but I think if Mbappe is because come on, Andy, like Mbappe will now be at what 20? Is he 2 or 3 now? 22 or 3?
I think it's 23, right?
23, yeah. So at 23, Mbappe is flexing 2 World Cups, and you've got Neymar who are close 30 and like have got nothing.
Imagine Mbappe's ego. If he goes up to PSG, he's already got an ego for being like the highest paid.
Exactly. And now you're like, I've got 2 World Cups. What do you got? Like he will go to Messi. He'll be like, yeah, you're Messi, but I have 2 World Cups, and I beat you in your team in your final. Like, I don't think you can control that. Like, I have to play. You pass to me like that. Nah, I think that. I mean, I still think that if Messi wins, that he'll probably consider either retiring or going to South America or MLS, etc., etc. I think that I don't see, because I think for Neymar or Messi, once they won that World Cup, it's like I've achieved everything that I want to in my career.
Yeah,
I don't see, if Messi won the World Cup, for example, him having the same drive to be like, yes, I want to win another Champions League. I want to win league, dressing league, or whatever. It's like, no, I've achieved everything I want to in football because I've got the ultimate prize. I don't need to do anything else.
Yeah. I mean, just coming back to that, Mbappe possibly winning this cup. I just don't. I don't think it can happen in terms of Messi's legacy as well. The way he's worked so hard in this tournament, and like we saw in the semi-final, to be playing around with defenders. I mean, we see a lot of players, even though they're top class, in previous semi-finals all the time. We sometimes see cagey performances. So even big players kind of keep it conservative. Messi, all game, I saw him just trying to dribble past every player that he could, trying to victimize everyone, right? And we saw him get the penalty goal and that assist, making Vardy look like Maguire. He looked he looked terrible in that play. Obviously, Vardy still a great player, but yeah, Messi, the football gods cannot allow Mbappe this kind of ego at this age, yeah. Because I reckon he would probably be worse than Ronaldo. We've seen how Ronaldo has gone out, yeah. This can't happen. This can't happen, man. Messi,
to make matters worse, like, remember, he's only 23. Exactly. So he's still got another, the next, so he'll be obviously 27 when the next World Cup comes along, then 31. So he's still potentially got another 2 World Cups.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to say that France, with the depth squad they had, can't compete in another World Cup. So we're talking 2. Imagine 3. Someone winning 3. Like, then you're thinking, like, even potentially the GOAT conversation has to be won, because if you're now saying that a single player has won 3 World Cups and you've been key as part of that, as well as all the other stuff. I mean, he's not won a Champions League, so okay, fine. And you don't know what the future's going to bring. So, but there is something. I mean, SMB said, if Mbappe wins, he is going to be one of the most hated players that I've seen a long, long time. Yeah,
But it depends how he reacts to it, though. This is the thing. I mean, in terms of myself, I'm just thinking it will be like a negative thing in terms of his ego goes through the roof.
It's
like,
on
the pitch, like you're saying, he will demand the ball every time. He will basically be like Ronaldo, because Ronaldo does that or has done that. Where it's like, just get the ball to me, comes deep, just get the ball to me, try to do everything. Hopefully Mbappe won't turn out to be like that. Hopefully he refines his game and gets I mean, he is technical, but like I hear people saying he's a pace merchant, and I'm not disagreeing with that. There's a lot of times we're seeing he uses his pace as a cheat code to get past players and do things. But I hope this develops. If he wins, because he's still a good player in terms of his reputation overall. Is he really that bad as a player, reputation-wise? He's got a big ego, right? But he still plays the game well, like for PSG, right? I don't know if there's been that many scandals with Mbappe. You have to remind me.
Not really. Not really. I think the issue is that there's just all the reports seem to come out, whether true or wrong, about his ego, essentially. So that, like, especially with the whole Real Madrid PSG saga, where it was like he was supposed to go to Real Madrid, and then PSG basically begged him to stay. French president rang him. All these different sort of things that happened. Demanded X amount of wages. And now, as you said, that's gonna be in his head, and so you then have a situation where you won the World Cup, and potentially you're going to get your first Ballon d'Or, because let's keep it a stack. Like, if he wins the World Cup, I can't see how he doesn't get the Ballon because I don't know when I guess it's difficult, because this Ballon d'Or is the last Ballon d'Or. So Benzema got it, and that was in September, was it? I can't remember. So, but yeah, it'll be for like next season. So, but I wouldn't be surprised if he won that, on top of if he does anything for PSG. So, I can only see I mean, I could be, maybe we're over exaggerating, and it's fine. It's okay. It'll be fine. So, but I just don't know many footballers in the history of football that would have won 2 World Cups before the age of 23.
Yeah, I mean, we know he's already got like, was it more World Cup goals than Maradona and Pele at his age.
Exactly.
He's putting the stats up there, but yeah, I can't get away from the eye test right now. I mean, yeah, he's got some goals and whatever in this cup, but has he really turned it on like we've seen Messi turn it on? You know, that's
true.
the thing. That's why I'm hoping justice will be done in the final. Okay,
but it would be Mbappe to then say, right, I'm now going to turn it on in the final. Now you'll see what I do. I'm going to turn it on in the final. I'm going to lay it down because, you know, to be honest, Hakimi and Kyle Walker, you know, pretty much silenced Mbappe or able to silence Mbappe. I'm not sure. I don't know who plays the fullback for Argentina again. I've forgotten it. Maybe SMB can help me in the chat.
Like the right back.
Yeah. Tell me who the right back scored again.
I can't remember, but I reckon they will double up on Mbappe, or
yeah,
even
they
triple
will.
up. Getting kicked, you know, that they're going to be scumbags against Mbappe. They're going to try and do everything they can to silence him. We know how Argentina can play, right? We saw against Netherlands, how they can be scumbags, kicking balls at benches, all that kind of scumbaggery. No, they definitely love for him.
They definitely will. So, but I think the key thing with this France team is that like a lot of teams have done that where they try and focus on Mbappe and try and mark on the game, but they forget about everybody else. Like, as you know, I think Filthy Clip said, Antoine Griezmann has had a fantastic tournament. Has had a really, really good tournament for France, just in terms of what he's been able to. He's almost. It almost looks like he's almost replaced Kante in a way, you know, because there were times, especially in the early games, when I was like, was that Griezmann making a slide tackle? Was that Griezmann challenging for the ball? Like, I was in my life, I was like, does Griezmann do that? Because I never put, you know, slide tackles and recovery tackles as part of something that Antoine Griezmann did. Like, it wasn't something that I ever looked at him as a footballer and was like, yeah, that's what Griezmann does. So to see him do it was almost like, is this the same player? And if it is, why hasn't he always done this? I don't understand. It's weird, you know. But
yeah, I guess it's just like sometimes people have like an evolution, you know, that sometimes you have to keep playing the game to like mature, because we know how we see players actually develop their vision like later on, develop their ability to read the game. So yeah, maybe that's just been the transition there, where maybe as well he might have slowed down a bit, because remember he used to start on the wing like in the early parts of his career. I'm sure like Real Sociedad he was like a winger, and then went to like Atletico Madrid, he was more of like a forward, and now we're seeing the transition to eventually like it's like a number 8 box-to-box player. So yeah, I like the evolution of Griezmann, because I think he's one of the only guys apart from Mbappe and Tchouaméni that I've enjoyed watching. Everyone else in that team, man, it's just been pragmatism, and yeah, I'm not liking this France team overall. I just gotta say it, man. I'm underwhelmed by these guys. I hope they don't defend their championship.
No. This is definitely not the prettiest football that I've ever saw. But I mean, to be honest, I make an argument that aside from, ironic enough, when they played against Argentina, because obviously they did play against Argentina round of 16 in the last World Cup, and I can't remember how that ended. Was it 4-3, 4-2 in the end? I can't remember, but France took them apart. That's the one where Pavard scored a pretty good goal. So it'll be interesting to see whether we get glimpses of that again. But I remember Argentina struggling with France's counter in that respect. It
was actually 4-3 in the last one.
Yes, it was 4-3. That was it. Yes.
Yeah. What a game that was. I would love to get a final like that, you know, because I suspect this final is going to be, you know, because you've been analysing both teams, you know, both teams pretty much, have been counter-attacking. And we know when we see two defensive teams, it tends to be KG. Can you still hear me?
Yes, can still hear. Yeah, yeah. Internet
Yeah,
was
sorry,
going a bit.
my internet's going a bit. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So
yeah,
I was just saying that it seems like it's going to come down to moments, yeah, and then you just got to look at like who's going to be the most impactful in these moments, right? And yeah, you just got to look at the two main guys, Mbappe versus Messi. Who has had the better moments in this tournament? It's been Messi, for sure.
Yes.
I mean, Mbappe's got killer speed, but yeah, it can be handled if you double up on him. But we see Messi. Messi can dribble past two players still, even if he's doubled up.
What I would say though is that, I mean, if France play their cards right, I think Argentina's biggest weakness is in the air. I do think that, you know, from set pieces, from crosses, all the rest of it, you know. So, and whether Deschamps has seen that, I don't know, but I would bet on Giroud in the air over any of the you know, as much as I love Lisandro, and I love Lisandro as well, against the Argentine defenders, like I will bet on Giroud winning the ball every single time. And so I think that, you know, I don't think France win this game. If France are going to win it, they're going to win it because they play the best football. I think they win it if Griezmann does what he has continued to do, which is deliver fantastic crosses, fantastic balls into the box to Giroud or anyone else attacking it to come in and head. Like, throughout this tournament, I've seen Argentina have struggled in the air when it comes to aerial battles. And even you saw, you know, against England for France, you know, the second goal, Griezmann, Giroud, Maguire's gone in. And first goal, how did they score the first goal? Was it a similar thing? It was a corner, wasn't it? The first goal that France scored against England.
Oh, it was Chouameni, long ranger.
Oh, sorry, long range. Sorry, yes, long range. Okay, yeah, which you couldn't do anything about. But yeah, I if there's a week, obviously Messi is the game changer. So, but I just have a feeling that that France will attempt crossing inshallah against Argentina and hope
but
that
we've got to look
works.
at it as well. Yeah, sorry. In fairness, how many goals have Argentina conceded by headers? I remember, what was it? Weghorst got a header.
Weghorst.
Yeah. Is there other ones where they conceded headers? Because they do lead well.
I think the first Saudi goal came from one, not the second, which was the fantastic free kick. I think the first Saudi goal came from a piece.
So like two headers then they've conceded.
Poland.
I would say, yeah. I just, because just like we've seen with Lisandro Martinez, yeah, we've seen the way he can leap. Sometimes he can get towards a 6-footer and challenge them in the air. I remember Martinez against this forward for, I think it was, you know, when Man United played that Europa League game against was it Real Sociedad? I forgot.
Yes,
who it was, and they had this tall forwards. Is it Sorloff? I think I forgot what his name is. It was some Scandinavian forward at 6'4", and Martinez was winning headers or challenging at least for headers with him, putting them off. So this is what I think Argentina will do, and this is what they mostly do anyway: is put off the forward when he's jumping. They'll get like a little cheeky elbow in there that you can't see, or pull up the shirt.
I know. Like,
I think they can utilize Giroud.
I don't know. I think that if there's one thing that I know that Giroud is good at, even though it's his ability in the it's his ability in the air. It's his ability in the air. Like I'm not saying it's going to be like a walk in the park. That it's going to be easy. So I'm just going to put a poll in the chat about who do people think is going to win the final. Who will win the final? But you could be right, but I don't know if I with how Giroud has been and Green's delivery, and especially I think against them, because you're right. While they didn't concede having conceded multiple goals. That Netherlands game for me, especially when Weghorst came on, they couldn't handle the guy. Like to be honest, I was in my mind, I was like, why the hell did Van Gaal wait for, was it 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 50 minutes till the game ended to put on this guy? Clearly, they can't handle this 6'8" guy. And now Netherlands are just literally just long ball up, hold the ball up, hold the ball. Giroud can hold the ball up, hold the ball up, long ball, get the ball down, go. They couldn't cope with him. If they literally played like that from the start, actually Netherlands would have beaten Argentina because they couldn't cope with that. So I guess I'm almost saying that, like, if if France try and play their game and counter, France that might actually go against them, because the midfield in Argentina is very workmanlike, can win the ball back, is very aggressive, and they can punish France, who defensively I'm still not convinced by. However, they bypass that midfield, long ball up to Giroud or whatever, hold it up. I think they can potentially cause some problems, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's the best bet is that kind of thing, because we know with Argentina they're very good with like keeping their energy going. Like I said before, very tenacious, and that they'll, they have to, if let's go for that counter attack with just the pace on the wings. I can see Argentina doubling up, like I said before, and just like doing them little, them little annoying challenges that can kind of escape like yellow cards and things like that. Little.
It'll be interesting to see who. It'll be interesting to see who the referee is for the final. God forbid it's that Spanish fraud that refereed the Netherlands one. Like, I think he's been sent
him home, didn't they? Hasn't he been sent home?
He was so bad. It was bad. It was so bad, bias. I don't know, but it was bad.
I'm sure didn't they send him home already, right? I saw a story of him just being.
Yeah, I looked like it's sent home, which will make sense to me. I mean, I guess in theory, it's like he needs to be. So you can't be South American, you can't be from the European contingent. But I think they scrapped that. I mean, to be honest, I'd have Michael Oliver. I know that sounds bad, but like, he refereed the Brazil-Croatia game, and I have all the referees that referee. I think he was probably the best. I don't remember any controversies or bad decisions in that Brazil versus Croatia game, and he refereed that for 2 hours. That went to penalties, obviously. But the others, like, almost every game, I'm like even today, where for me, Buffal, that should have been a penalty. I don't understand why they didn't go to VAR. I literally don't understand that. I saw it and I was like, I think it's Hernandez, isn't it? He goes over the ball, and then he fouls Buffal in the box. Like, Buffal doesn't touch, like, so, but then he gave the yellow card to Buffal, and I'm like, but Buffal doesn't touch him.
Yeah.
So, like, VAR shouldn't, like, and for VAR to be like, I'm not going to overturn that. I know you can't overturn yellow cards, but you can look at that challenge and go, was it Buffal who got fouled? Was it Hernandez who got fouled, or Buffal got fouled? By
the way, that is a stupid rule. Why would a card stop you from correcting the decision? Like, you can easily rescind the card.
It should have still been reviewed, because it was like, it's just that the review should have been like, the referee gave the foul on it's like even the England referee, like, he didn't give both I think this was it. I know he gave, but did he go to VAR for both penalties? I know he went to the second one, but definitely the second one, it was like,
I remember, actually. The first one was Stonewall, wasn't it?
Stonewall, yeah. The second one, I even thought the second one was Stonewall. So I was kind of like, he literally shoves him. You can't do that.
He went to VAR for the second one. He didn't give it. You had to get alerted to go and watch it. Yeah,
but watch it, because you're like, oh, that's nothing. It's like, he literally pushed him. You can't do that. Like, a shoulder barge is when the player is like literally right next to you, and you're kind of just nudging him away from the ball.
Yeah.
Not when the player is ahead of you and then you push him, which is basically what Hernandez.
Yeah.
Again, this brick Hernandez. I don't know how this. Literally, he almost cost his. He almost cost. If Harry Kane actually scores that penalty, France may be out. And then he actually gives another penalty away to Buffal, and but it isn't checked. So I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, Eddie. Like Hernandez has been a liability, and Argentina are more street smart than Morocco and England. So you know they will find a way to be able to exploit Hernandez and get that penalty from him. So yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, for that penalty, I'm just thinking right now. I mean, because when you slow it down, I was watching like the slow mo, and like I'm massively agreeing with you, but then I like to try and weigh up the other side as well. I mean, he does get the ball first, and it is like it's the follow through, isn't it? But then I was just thinking that maybe they're looking at the interpretation that he may not have meant the follow through, because you can see he's already he's falling over as the follow through happens. So maybe they've interpreted that it's like maybe accidental, but you're still stopping the player, aren't you? You're still stopping Buffal. So it should still be a foul at the end of the day. Yeah, there's been some decisions that have been like controversial. Remember the penalty for Argentina, what was it, against Livakovic, the Croatia keeper, where Alvarez knocks the ball past the keeper, and then Alvarez pretty much goes into that keeper's leg, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But it's a hard one because people are saying, oh, he was standing his ground, he couldn't get out of the way. But on the other side, he has obstructed the player from going past the keeper and getting on the ball that is not past the keeper.
Yeah.
So that was a hard one for me as well. There's been some hard decisions to make actually for these refs. Like, feel sorry a little bit, but there should be like, what do you call it? Black and white rule to know what you're gonna do.
But that's what VAR's for. VAR's to say, hey, if you want to check, go to the screen, have a look, and then make a decision. So that for me is I mean, I get it that like they don't want to over ref. So if the referee's made a decision and there's not enough evidence to overturn it, I understand that. That's why penalties are difficult, because it's like, a referee might be like, that's contact enough to warrant a penalty. Another ref might be, that's not enough contact to win a free. So I get that you can't just do that. But at the same time, that's why for me, I feel like the monitor is there. If there's a disagreement between the VAR guy and the thing about whether it's a penalty or not, get the alert the on-field referee to have a look at the monitor, and if he thinks that it's a penalty or he thinks it's a thing, then he so if he doesn't, he stands by his decision. Because the VAR guy sending him to the monitor isn't saying you should agree with me. He's just saying, listen, I just think you should have another look. And there've been one or two occasions where the referee has gone to the monitor, had a look. I know it's rare, but he's gone to it and he's not given a penalty. But he's like, nah, I'm sticking with my decision because I don't think that's enough in my interpretation of what I saw about things. Obviously, the majority of them have, but it is what it is. What did SMB said? The difference is that before Hernandez has upper for cover, now it's Kanate. That's a big difference. Do you mean regarding we good? Eddie, you still with me? You still with me, Eddie? Yeah, I can hear you. It's a bit. Your internet's it's still a bit brickish, but it's. I think you're frozen.
Yeah.
You might have to come back in and come out again, I think, buddy.
Yeah.
No, it's still brickish, buddy. Okay, I think we'll wait on Eddie coming back. Yeah, but you're right. That is a big difference. And let me see. Is he moving again? I'll see if I can bring Eddie back in if it's working. Yeah, back, Eddie. No, No, I think he's restarting. Okay, cool. Right. As says, let's be real, guys. They were never going to allow. I would have loved that. I would have loved that. I would have loved a Croatia versus Argentina. Sorry, Croatia versus Morocco final. Just because it would have been just nice to just have another winner, a new winner. More importantly, a new winner, someone that hadn't won it before. But now it's the kind of the same old, the same old, which is fine. I've got no problem with that. So, but it's just it'd have been nice to have something different, in my personal opinion. It is what it is. But yeah, let's just see. Yeah, no, it's not. Okay. But yeah, ultimately, and I'll probably just begin to round things up. Um, Sorry, 2 seconds, everybody. Make sure, by the way, for those watching, make sure you like the video, like the video, and subscribe. It really goes a long way. I'm hoping to get to 3,300 by the end of the year. So we're only 20 more subscribers away from that. So please, if you're not a member already, please subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Make sure you like the video. It helps with the algorithm. We will be back with Manchester United Premier League content. But I do know that we have covered a lot of international football. I've not really covered any United content during this transfer because I wanted to focus on the World Cup and not have to think about what Manchester United are going to be doing. So if you are watching and you want me to, and you're a non-Manchester United fan and you want to see other football-related content on this channel, please either send me a message on Twitter, We're United X, comment below, or obviously in the chat as well. So or consider becoming a member where you get member exclusive content as well. So bear that in mind. So B says, one thing I noticed is that when Morocco was having those little combinations on the 18-yard box, that gave France issues. I think Argentina can replicate that on a higher quality level. Yeah, that is true. That is true. That's true. I would not be surprised if Argentina win this match. Because I think that the way that France are playing right now, I don't think they can beat Argentina. I think that they only beat Argentina. I mean, we saw how England dominated France, but if they go direct, and I assume they will, especially to Giroud, a long ball, Giroud, hold up, do something. That's it. Literally, France can win this World Cup if they go long ball. It's as simple as that. So. But unlucky against Morocco again, man. I think that it'll be very interesting because obviously the next World Cup, that it's going to be 48 teams, which is going to be insane. I think because Morocco have actually gotten to the semi-finals of this tournament, I think that it gives Africa, I think, 11 spots, if I recall. They had 10, and I think they'll have 11 spots. If I remember, let me have a quick look for everybody. What I'm searching for that is the answer for the poll. So far, I mean, guys, come on, there's 20 of you guys free watching. Make sure you 23 guys. Come on, like the vid. It helps with the algorithm, guys. Like the vid. It goes a long way, And there's only 12 votes in the poll. Come on. It's 50-50 though. It's 50-50 though. 50% you think France will win, 50% think Argentina will win. Let's see what happens. One thing though I noticed is that when Morocco, yes, we did that. So World Cup 2026 format. Yeah, expanded by 16 teams. 48 from 32. For expansion up. Yeah. Anyway, it is what. Anyway, it is what it is. It is what it is. You probably don't want me to be just be doing with those, but yeah, fundamentally what I'm ultimately saying is that um, what Morocco have achieved for African football cannot be underestimated. And I really hope, especially with because there isn't obviously an AFCON. I think the next AFCON is 2022. Um, and I think that certainly North African football should hopefully be in a better place. Now, I will say, so just as a kind of aside, just to talk about African football, because we are talking about Morocco here. Um, I don't think any of the African teams disgraced themselves at all. Okay, maybe Ghana did in the last game. Ghana did. Ghana, if Uruguay if Uruguay had gone through, um, Ghana couldn't exist anymore. It couldn't exist anymore. Um, and the fact that IU missed that penalty, you know, all Ghana needed was a draw, and actually they would have gone through that group. That's all they needed. Instead, instead they missed the penalty, and Uruguay lost. Uruguay beat them. I think it was 2-0, only for South Korea to basically obviously beat Portugal, and everyone's in scenes because South Korea did it, on the goal difference and stuff, So the Ghana's last game, I think they disgraced Africa. But everyone else, Cameroon, beating Brazil, doing their thing, still fighting, entertained. I really thought of Cameroon, to be honest. Cameroon, if it wasn't for their kind of uh, the first game, they may have done something, to be honest. They're 3-3 against Serbia, entertaining. Obviously, the 1-0, a thing to allow Abu Bakr to score. Brazil put in a second team. They didn't really care, really. They did what they need to do, Tunisia, likewise, struggled a bit, but beat France in the final game to held up high. Need to do that as well. And Senegal obviously did qualify. Shout out to Senegal. They got through, but they faced England and they just weren't any match for England, unfortunately, without Sadio Mane. But they didn't disgrace themselves. So I think overall, the African and even the Asian teams, Japan against, um, you know, coming back and beating Germany and Spain, unfortunately losing to Croatia on penalties. Even though I think Japan really could have again also gotten some of the game. Korea coming back against Portugal. They disgraced themselves against Brazil, although that was more the manager and his brick tactics, but it is what it is. And even Australia, so coming second, they above and beyond. So a lot of I can see I'm already looking at this because there's so much potential in so much of these African, Asian, CONCACAF teams. And I really think if you'll be honest, you can make an argument that the European teams underperformed massively. In a semi-final, you got, two European teams, one South American and one African. The European teams underperformed massively, especially the likes of Germany, Spain, Belgium, etc. They just didn't do what needed to be. They just didn't do what needed to be done at the end of the day. But yeah, guys, I will. It's been a good World Cup. It's been a good World Cup. I can't lie. I can't lie. SMB says Argentina should bring energy to me. Someone like DePaul isn't the most technical, maybe passionate, but him and Enzo and give France issues. Exactly. France just looks too relaxed to me. Exactly. I mean, the only thing about France is that, I don't think France have ever been under pressure, really. I mean, I'm not counting the Tunisia game when they're effectively through, but almost all the other games they were leading, they were ahead. They've never been down on the percent, and so that's my thing. We've not seen really France or Argentina. We've seen Argentina under pressure in the first game, except you count Saudi Arabia. I don't know, but France we haven't really, and I don't know how France will react if Argentina score first. How they react, because I imagine they'll be a lot more aggressive. In my personal opinion. African teams did well, to be honest. Exactly. It seems like it's just a focus issue. They can fix that. They think that they can go further. Yeah, I think I also think the draws were unlucky. So I think that if you look at who played who, you know, um, they all Senegal, just happened to face a very, very good England side. And Tunisia, I mean, if Cameroon were in any other group, I think they would have qualified from that group. Tunisia, neither here nor there. Ghana disgraced themselves. Ghana disgraced themselves. I'll give them that. I'm a call a spade, but South America underperformed. Other than Brazil, Argentina, the rest. Yeah. I think that it's reasonable to say that. You say even Brazil, but Brazil reached a quarter. Like if you think about it, they were two. How many? So you had what? You had Brazil, Argentina, Ecuador, and who else was it? Who else was in? Uruguay, and yeah, I think that was it. Did they have 4 teams? Yeah, I think that 4, but possibly it could have been a 5th. But I think they lost. Peru lost in the playoff, didn't they? I'll bring you in a second, Eddie. Ecuador and Uruguay didn't qualify from their groups, and Brazil got knocked out of the round of 16. So you could make a case that Africa performed better than the South American teams overall, because Morocco got through to a semi-final. Okay, Argentina got through to the final or something, but yeah, was there much difference? I don't know. Because they did flop against Croatia. Only 4 because Peru, exactly, lost the qualifier. Exactly. I'll bring just Eddie back in we'll get some final thoughts. So Eddie, just final thoughts on this game and what you expect for the final coming this Sunday.
It's unlucky that there couldn't be a first African team in the final. But that's what destiny has stipulated. So we have to wait for the future for that. I mean, France versus Argentina on paper, like it seems like it should be a good game. But we've seen like with the eye test, we could just get like a counter-attacking face-off here. It could be a frustrating watch. Hopefully, I'm wrong. But like I was saying earlier, I think it's going to come to moments. And if you're gonna look to your big players for the moments, who's going to be backing Mbappe over Messi? I mean, Messi has rolled back the years in this tournament. I mean, we've seen him stiffening, getting older at club level. He's not been as strong, with what he could do in his prime. With the World Cup, he's shown up. So anyway, let me get to my prediction. I'm thinking 1-0 Messi late on. I think it's going to be the fairy tale for Messi. And I think Mbappe has to wait a little bit longer for his second World Cup. He's still got time. Mbappe think, I've still got time. Let my teammate at PSG, let me let Messi have his Hollywood ending, his fairy tale ending, So 1-0 Argentina. I think you're muted, bro.
I thanks, Adi. So what I'll say first, the poll, and about 19 of you voted, and it literally was 53% said France. As even it's because it's not been 20. You still can vote if you like, guys. And Argentina 47%. So people are saying a France win, but marginally. So this is very close. So
okay, now you have to do a poll. Sorry, you have to do a poll for how many fanboys of Ronaldo are in the chat, because
I don't think that's a fanboy thing. I think that's a reasonable, because to kind of keep it a stack, both teams have their weaknesses, and I don't know, there's just something about it where I think that I just have this feeling that Argentina are gonna bottle it. And I don't know whether it's going to be the pressure from the fans staying, because you've got to remember, half of this France squad played in the final not that long ago. So they've already been there. They already know that. They already have the experience. And people said they're going to use these taxing things. It's like half of the squad played in a final recently. So they know what to expect. They know what to do. They know the stakes, etc., etc. I think there's
Well,
much
just
more.
real quickly, one point real quickly before you carry on. Think about the hunger. Think about the hunger that Argentina will have compared to France. France may be complacent.
That is true. That is true. But that hunger, that there's a balance, because that hunger also comes with pressure. Because Messi because the whole team knows this is Messi's last chance of winning a World Cup. They might even think this is their last chance of winning a World Cup. Because without Messi, when he retires, I don't really see this Argentine side going any further than the round of 16 in subsequent World Cups, to be honest. So maybe max quarters. So, and then you've got the Argentine, fans around you. So there's a pressure there. Whereas with France, I don't necessarily think there's the same pressure because they've already won it before. So you're right. It comes to who wants it more. But because they've been in that situation before, the last time, I think there's only the only player that was in the final in 2014 was Messi. I don't think anyone else in the Argentine squad. I mean, was Dybala in that squad? I think he might have been.
Otamendi may have been in it.
I'm not sure about Otamendi. Maybe he might have been there, but everyone else that's there, like I've not seen. So it's there's just something that tells me that as soon, and this is especially true if Argentina go down. I think if France go down first, I wouldn't be that worried if you're France, just because of who you have and the personnel, etc. But I think that if Di Maria, yes, Di Maria was also part of it. Thank you, SSB. He was part of that 2014. But I think that if Argentina go down, there's just a part of me that feels like they'll implode. Like they won't know what to do, because the pressure will be all kind of all over the place. You saw it a little bit when they conceded against the Netherlands, the first goal, when they were 2-1 up, and it was kind of like, oh, what do we do? And they were 2-1 up still, but they were all over the place. It amazed me. I was like, you're still winning, but you've completely lost your shape. Like, you completely lost it. And then when he scored the second goal, which was a fantastic free kick, they were just kind of like, they kind of regrouped in extra time and steadied the ship. But it just amazed me just how, after they conceded the goal, they just completely lost their shape. That the team just was unrecognizable. And so I feel like if France get first blood, I don't know how Argentina respond. Whereas if Argentina get first blood, they could still win obviously, Argentina overall, but I don't think that France will panic or be as disorganized as much as I think Argentina would, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see your point, man. I see your point, but we can't count out Messi when there's low blocks. I mean, I know it's a France low block. I know it's a France low block, which is different to other ones. Messi's on them, but I just think Messi's going to be on a different level. He's going to be on this kind of wizardry that is just going to be unstoppable.
I hope so. I hope so, because if I'm honest, I can't remember the last time Messi delivered in a final. He's delivered up to finals, but actually in a final, because he ghosted in the Copa final, which they won. Like, he ghosted. I won't say he ghosted, but he wasn't that great in the 2014 final.
For the World Cup, wasn't it?
2014, yeah.
Yeah, like, but come on, we remember he should have got an assist for Higuain. Yeah,
I know.
I
know. Higuain. I know. But in the Copas, which they didn't win, etc. I hope for Messi's sake that he balls in this final. So because traditionally, recently from 2014, he struggled somewhat. Messi is Disney Plus, but Mbappe is for the streets. Well,
I like that one. That's funny.
Well, like that definitely wouldn't surprise me. That definitely wouldn't surprise me. Right, guys, I've got to bounce. I've got to head. But Eddie, thank you so much for coming on the show. For those who are watching, first off, make sure you like and you're sub to Red Devil Studio. Second, where can they find you, Eddie?
Yeah, so I'm still doing a bit of material, a little bit on the World Cup at Eddie's Football Waffle on YouTube. So yeah, just give me a subscribe. It's free, and obviously, most importantly, hit a like for Red Devil Studio. You know, in the work. So yeah, thanks again for having me on, man. It's good to catch up with you.
No, appreciate, and it'll be great to have you back on the. We're probably starting United Forum and obviously United post-match reaction stuff amongst other things. So it's almost back to business from next week, you know. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Cool. Right, take care, everyone. It's been great, and cheers.
Peace.